How long will you last? Is a question I had. If I was in a horror movie, one of the things I loved doing as a child was watching scary movies. And it's a huge part of my life and a huge inspiration to myself, and something I wanted to end my university career here at UFV on. The project that I wanted to do and get started off with was making something that would work procedurally and look very cool, like a little building where I can add a room, make a hallway, make a bathroom, just have general layouts ready to go and just ready to put in from Houdini into Unreal and sprinkle in some Maya here and there. I started off the project inspired by Silent Hill. There was an unreleased version of Silent Hill where all you just did was go around in circles around a building and you don't know when you're going to get out or what's going to happen next. And that was my main inspiration and what I wanted to do.
Before I could even begin this project, I had to figure out what I was actually doing and what I wanted it to look like. So I went on the internet to find some inspiration, some photos, some videos to see what I really wanted to do. And I love Blumhouse and I wanted to incorporate that feeling that you get when you watch their movies.
I wanted to lay out what I actually needed for this project and how to make everything come to life. I started off with a little checklist. So once I was in Houdini, there were a few things that I knew right off the bat that I wanted to try and get done. I really wanted to make a ghost who I called Goosty. I then also wanted to do procedural lights and of course the procedural hall, like level living area room house indoor situation going on. I started off learning about VOPs, COPs, and obviously SAW. And I learned a lot about VDBs and volumetric clouds and just volume VOPs in general when it came to making my ghost. And I wanted it to start with disintegration, going into an actual model and then dissipating out. And it was a process to learn how to get all of that done, but over time I did learn. So once I did get into Houdini, it was all about getting a solid pipeline going for myself of how I want to start and getting this into Unreal Engine. In the beginning, I really wanted to start off by modeling everything in Maya, getting like the walls ready, the floor, the ceiling, the baseboards, the molding. But for now, I needed to learn how to do volumes opposed to geometry, opposed to polygons. But I just wanted everything to work, I wanted nodes to come out, and I wanted to learn how to make everything a proper HDA. The hallway. A simple word for most, but to the two of us from this class, it's a traumatizing word. It started off as just an idea in our heads that, okay, if we took these and we made an asset that anybody can use, it would be great. For the first semester of this 2-semester course, we went over how to copy it to points, seeing if I could bring this model in, put it against this line and get it to multiply these many times, get this to look like this to merge into there. And it turned out to be this huge cluster of a mess that just didn't make sense anymore and was just breaking. After one really late night conversation outside the school as it was pouring rain and dark in the midwinter of December, we decided that, you know what, we got to regroup, we got to replan, and we came back in January. We were working on a way to get it to work. Everything start to finish just in Houdini. We cut out Maya, we just worked in Houdini, and I am working on just like a little home scene. So I went in and we got the whole first part done, and then we kind of split our ways. I worked on my floors. I did some hardwood floors that could be turned into tiles and laminate, whatever you want it to look like. Got a procedural added in the parameters and boom, we're good to go, we're rolling. Same with the baseboards, just classic smooth baseboards. Molding was where I did some carving and modeling, which it was disappointing not being able to use the Maya models, but learning a new way to model with nodes. The wall's just classic wall, but if you wanted tile textured half and half with wallpaper, whatever you want to do to it, it's ready to go. Everything was modeled in Houdini. It kind of worked better as its own thing, and with a click of a button we turned it into an HDA, which is a Houdini digital asset, got that into Unreal. I did a lot of the work in Houdini, but there were some other models obviously that I just didn't need procedurally made, and so I made a bunch of models in Maya. We got a vase, we got lamps, we got a table lamp, we got just beds, and just like a bunch of models in Maya, and all of them are either textured and Substance Painter, or I have done them using RenderMan Disney BSDF. Added in textures to give it a little bit more spooky feel, but also with like, this is a modern spooky feel. I didn't want to make it a predictable 80s house. I think with all of the texturing and making some of the bump maps and everything from scratch using Photoshop as well had definitely brought out a whole different element. It allowed me to customize my work a bit more. Getting all of this stuff packaged and get it into Unreal Engine, where I connected all the pieces together, where I got the FBX, plugged in the base color, the normals, the ambiental occlusion, whatever I had, clicked it into there, added in some metallics where I needed it, reduced it, contrast, whatever I wanted. The final product happened in Unreal, but it all started in Maya. For the final aspects of this project, I wanted everything to come together in Unreal because Unreal is familiar territory and just an overall great hub space for everything to come and work and just look how everything needs to look. In Unreal, I brought in the HDA, the hallway, from Houdini. Figuring all of that out was great, and then getting it all textured and rendered properly in Unreal was also one of the things we wanted to work on. We ended up getting everything textured separately, one by one, piece by piece, in Unreal Engine, getting it looking great, and from Houdini making everything a actual adjustable asset so that once it was in Unreal, we didn't really have to go back and forth unless it was to troubleshoot, which I also then brought in my ghost after figuring out how to get VDBs into Unreal Engine. And I brought in all of the models, made my own little folders, got everything in where I needed it to go and placed them as I needed them placed. Over the last 8 months, it has definitely been a lot of learning, doing trial, error, succeeding, failing over and over again. But failure makes you stronger and allows you to learn what you're learning. And Houdini definitely pushed us to those limits. And honestly, I could not be happier learning Houdini, learning more about Unreal, learning more about Maya, seeing all of this new technology come out. And I'm glad I got to learn the fundamentals and the base of how everything works and how everything is going to be working regardless of what technology comes out in the future, and how I can adapt to new ways and new learnings was definitely a great thing to learn about myself. And honestly, I'm so grateful for Will for spending so many nights in the lab with us. And honestly, Sabrina, I could not have asked for somebody much better. I can't explain the happiness and feeling I have. I am so happy that I'm leaving UFV's Bachelor of Media Arts with this in my back pocket.